After 35 years helping families find the right neighborhood in Raleigh, I can tell you this is the biggest mistake people make. They pick a pretty house without understanding the area, and 6 months later, they're kicking themselves. So today, I'm going to take you on a complete tour of every area in Raleigh and Wake County. Wake County is the largest county in North Carolina, so let's dive into Raleigh real estate market like you've never seen it before. First, you have to understand Raleigh's layout. Raleigh is not like other cities because most cities grow out from one central downtown core, but Raleigh developed differently, and we've got multiple growth areas, and it makes sense once you see it on a map. So here we're looking at the Greater Raleigh area. The first thing to notice is this highway loop right here in the center, and that is I-440, the Beltline. It's a 16.4-mile loop that was completed back in 1984, and that defines what we call inside the Beltline. So now when people say inside the Beltline, they're talking about more than just geography. It's a whole different vibe. There are your more urban, walkable neighborhoods with older homes, large oak trees, and that in-town feel. But not everything inside the loop is desirable, and I'll go over that with you in just a minute. The other major highway you need to know about is I-540. This is the outer loop circling the northern and eastern parts of Wake County. The complete 540 project is wrapping around the southern and the western segments, and when it's done in 2028, you're going to have a 70-mile complete loop that completely transforms commute times and property values in southern Wake. And right here to the northwest, that's Research Triangle Park, or RTP as we call it. This is one of the largest research parks in the world, and it's the economic engine driving our whole region. If you're moving here for a tech job, biotech, or pharmaceuticals, there's a good chance that you're coming to RTP every single day. So the way that we're going to tour Raleigh today just makes sense geographically. Note, if you're looking at specific Raleigh neighborhoods and trying to figure out which area fits your budget and lifestyle, I can walk you through the current inventory, and my contact information is in the description below. I'd love to hear from you. First, let's talk about downtown and inside the Beltline. So let's zoom in downtown Raleigh, and right here in the center is your downtown core. Raleigh's got about 500,000 people now, and this downtown area has really come alive over the past decade. You've got the state capitol building here on Fayetteville Street, and the whole area is transformed into a mix of government offices, high-rise condos, restaurants, and entertainment. If you want to live downtown, you're mainly talking about condos and lofts. And here's what's happening right now. The condo market is flooded with inventory. We're seeing a wide range from as low as $125,000 up to $3 million. The heavy inventory is creating some real opportunities for home buyers. Downtown breaks into a few different districts. Glenwood South over here is your top entertainment spot. This is where young professionals in their 20s and 30s want to be. And there's tons of bars, restaurants, and nightlife all packed into this one area. And when we get to southwest Wake County in a bit, I'm going to show you how Holly Springs delivers that same bustling feel in a completely different package at a completely different price that may surprise you. Then over here you've got the warehouse district south of downtown. This used to be all industrial buildings, but now it's converted lofts, breweries, art galleries, and the whole area is changing fast. Prices here run from $300,000 to $600,000 plus the lofts, and pulls in a lot of artsy, creative professionals. Downtown living isn't for everyone. You're giving up your space and your privacy for the walkability and that urban energy. If you want to walk to work, walk to dinner, and not deal with a car for your daily routine, downtown is your spot. Now, as we move further out, we still remain inside the Beltline, but we'll be checking out the premium areas. Most people think inside the Beltline means expensive across the board, but there's actually an invisible line that separates the premium areas from neighborhoods that you want to skip altogether. So let me show you what I mean. If we look here to the northeast, you've got Woodcrest, and this is one of those established inside the Beltline neighborhoods with a mix of traditional brick homes and some modern builds. Really quiet streets, mature trees, easy to get around, and this neighborhood has enjoyed a revival during the past 5 to 10 years. Also east of downtown right here, that's Oakwood. You know, this is one of the Raleigh's oldest neighborhoods, and if you love Victorian architecture, you need to see this area. Oakwood gives you a touch of San Francisco's painted lady homes with their vibrant colors. These homes were built from the late 1800s to the early 19th century. They are craftsman-style bungalows on tree-lined streets with tons of character, and you're looking at high sixes and upward, depending on the house and the level of upgrades. They do an annual home and Christmas tour that shows off all the restoration work people have done here. Over here is 5 Points, and this neighborhood has shops and restaurants, walkable amenities right in the neighborhood. These are character homes from the early 1920s through the 1950s, and price typically runs $700,000 plus. It's a really popular spot with solid values and appreciation. And if we go northwest, Cameron Village area is your old money Raleigh. This neighborhood wraps around the historic Cameron Village Shopping Center, and you've got fancy established homes on big lots and incredible tree canopy Raleigh's known for. Prices here can get to the 500,000s to million plus very quickly. It's just got that established wealthy feel. Now over here, NC State, you've got Oberlin Village, and this is one of the priciest areas in all of Raleigh. Luxury homes northwest of downtown with quick access to shopping and restaurants. Real estate in Oberlin goes to the low to the mid 2 millions. So you know this is definitely top tier stuff. And here's what most people don't get about inside the Beltline, and it's really important. See this road right here? Well, that's Western Boulevard, and it runs along the southern edge of the North Carolina State campus. I'd say this is a real southern boundary of the desirable inside the Beltline area. So north of Western Boulevard, you've got your nicer neighborhoods. South of it, that's historically been more of a working class, and some spots can be pretty rough. So now there are some rehabs happening in neighborhoods like Pullen Park and Bowling Heights right here and around Pullen Park. This area is seeing people buy up the old houses and renovate them or completely tear them down and build new construction. So you know people are renovating the historic craftsman homes and bungalows. Prices in Bowling Heights are running from $400,000 to $700,000 plus, and it's walkable to downtown. But south of Western Boulevard, you've got an area that I'm just going to tell you to skip. These are rougher neighborhoods that haven't gotten that comeback vibe for reinvestment yet. And see this big chunk right here where it says Centennial Campus? Well, that's the North Carolina State University campus. So when you're looking at maps, don't get confused. This whole section is the college, not residential neighborhoods. So the big thing with inside the Beltline is this. It's not all the same. You've got some of the most wanted expensive neighborhoods in Raleigh, and you've got some areas that you should avoid. The city median is around 430 to about 475, but inside the Beltline neighborhoods can go way above that depending on where you're looking. So that's the urban core, but if you want more space without giving up quality of life, North Raleigh delivers something completely different at similar price points. Here's the thing nobody tells you about North Raleigh. You can get the same mortgage payment as downtown, triple the square footage, and still be 20 minutes from everything that matters. So if we look at the area between the Beltline and about right here at Strickland Road, that is what we call close in North Raleigh. These are established neighborhoods, you know, homes from the 1980s through the 2000s, mature trees, and a suburban feel while still being convenient to downtown. The typical home in North Raleigh is about mid to high 400s, along with the major teardowns near North Hills that can go into the millions range. However, you're getting bigger lots than you'd find inside the Beltline. In North Raleigh, you definitely need a car, but that's the trade-off. You're getting more house, more land, good schools, and you're still within a reasonable distance to everything. That's classic suburban family territory. Now, Shelley Lake Park is right here, and it's really popular. And you've got a 2-mile paved trail around the lake. It hooks up to a bigger greenway system with boardwalk parks over wetlands, and it's great for walking or jogging or just getting outside. You've got all your suburban amenities within a short drive in North Raleigh. Plus, North Raleigh also has Lynn Lake with mature trails and Optimus Park for aquatics. The area has tons of shopping center, restaurants, and the elite North Ridge Country Club over here with golf and tennis. That is definitely one of the most sought after neighborhoods neighborhoods and is still considered close in North Raleigh. And when I say close in North Raleigh, I'm talking about still close to downtown. So when you move farther out, North Raleigh, past Strickland, you get what people call North Raleigh. And this is where things get really spread out. You're looking at bigger lots with established neighborhoods and yes, a bit of new development where the developer can make it work. But this area also has more of a country feel with more green space. The prices are going to vary in this area depending on the exact neighborhood and the lot size. Now, if we keep going north, we end up in Wake Forest. And Wake Forest has its own personality, but it's still basically part of the Greater Raleigh area. Wake Forest has this cute, historic downtown Main Street with local shops and restaurants. The town also has the Wake Forest Reservoir for fishing and kayaking. We see Highway 98 right here. This is the major road that gets you to Research Triangle Park fast, which is why Wake Forest has gotten popular with people working at RTP. The real estate market in Wake Forest is active. Home prices average in the mid-400s and upwards. And if you're getting a mix of historic homes, new builds, and planned communities, it's that small town feel with access to big city amenities. And beyond Wake Forest, I'm glad you asked, because as Wake County keeps growing, the areas around it are benefiting from the overflow. Up here in Franklin County, you've got Youngsville and Franklinton. These towns both have more rural, small town feel, and they're pulling in people who want that slower pace of life but still drive to Raleigh and RTP. The real estate here is less expensive than Wake County, and you're getting a mix of new builds and existing homes. They are up and coming markets with real potential for appreciation as more people find them and move to our area. So North Raleigh gives you that suburban family life, but if your job's at Research Triangle Park, the west side neighborhoods cut your commute in half and change the whole equation. So saving time is why many people choose West Raleigh. The single biggest factor driving West Raleigh home prices isn't the houses themselves, it's what sits 15 minutes down the road employing 50,000 people, and that's RTP. And when you move over to the west side of Raleigh and talk about the areas around Research Triangle Park, right here, this whole area is Research Triangle Park, or RTP. This is one of the largest research parks in the world, and it spans parts of both Wake and Durham counties. It's home to hundreds of companies, major players in tech, biotech, and pharmaceuticals. IBM has around 8,000 employees, and you have companies like SAS, Institute, Cisco, Lenovo, GlaxoSmithKline, and Biogen. This place drives our whole economy, and it has a huge effect on the housing market nearby. So if you're moving to Raleigh for work, there's a good chance that you'll be driving to RTP every day. And that means the areas west of Raleigh, especially Cary and Morrisville, are super popular because they're close and will cut your drive time in half. Let's zoom in on Cary first. This is Wake County's biggest suburb with about 185,000 people, and it's one of the most wanted areas in the country. You know, Cary has a reputation, and for over 30 years I've heard people joke about Cary stands for Containment Area for Relocating Yankees, because so many people from the Northeast end up here. But here's why they come. The schools are excellent, the neighborhoods are well kept, and you've got tons of parks and amenities. The real estate market in Cary is really competitive. The typical sales price is in the low sixes and gaining equity as we speak. So in Cary, you end up getting a mix of single-family homes, townhomes, planned communities, and new builds. Downtown Cary has been getting better, and the area is super well maintained. Some people say it feels a bit too perfect or boring, but that's what you get for living in one of the most family-friendly suburbs in America. Now, big employers in Cary include SAS Institute, which is one of North Carolina's biggest private employers, and Fidelity Investments. Epic Games, which makes Fortnite, is based here, so you've got a really educated, wealthy population. And right next to Cary, you've got Morrisville. This is a smaller suburb with about 33,000 people, and it sits right between Cary and RTP. The typical home price in Morrisville is the mid to high 400s, which makes it a bit easier to afford than Cary. Morrisville is super diverse. You've got a mix of townhomes, condos, and single-family homes. And the drive to RTP is only 10 to 15 minutes. Property taxes are actually lower in Morrisville than in Cary, which is another plus. Both Cary and Morrisville have big greenway systems for walking and biking and hiking. Cary has the USA Baseball National Training Complex. So if you're into youth sports, this area is huge for that. The lifestyle here is really family-focused, work-life balance, access to great schools and activities. So Cary and Morrisville command premium prices for RTP proximity, but Southwest Wake County delivers similar quality at lower price points with one major infrastructure advantage coming in 2028. That is the projected completion of 540's construction. When completed, 540 is projected to take neighborhoods in the Southwest Wake County from the long commute to prime territory, and early buyers are already positioning themselves. So from Cary and Morrisville, let's move south to Southwest Wake County, and we'll talk about Apex, Holly Springs, and Fuquay Varina. Right here is Apex, and this town has the motto, Peak of Good Living, which pretty much tells you how people who live here feel about this area. Apex has the charming, historic downtown district with local shops and restaurants, and the town has grown like crazy over the past 20 years, so you're getting mostly newer homes, stronger schools, and a really active community feel. The typical home price here is in the mid-500s and upwards, and you're looking at a mix of historic homes in the downtown area, new builds in the surrounding neighborhoods, and planned communities. One of the big draws of Apex is being close to Jordan Lake, which is right here to the west. This provides water recreation like boating and swimming, which a lot of people love. The commute to RTP is 25 to 35 minutes, and you're 20 to 30 minutes from downtown Raleigh. The town has top-rated schools, and it's very family-focused. Property values here are strong and holding steady. Just south of Apex, you've got Holly Springs, and this is one of the fastest-growing towns in North Carolina. And you're looking at predominantly post-2000 construction, so everything is newer. The typical home price in Holly Springs is in the high 500s. And you've got a lot of master plan communities with amenities like pools and clubhouses. The schools are solid, and it's got that family vibe. So one of the biggest perks of Holly Springs is Bass Lake Park and Retreat Center right here. And you can go fishing, boating, hiking, and the town does a bunch of community events throughout the year like the Holly Springs Farmers Market and Holly Fest. So now, here's the thing with Holly Springs. The commute to Raleigh is currently 30 to 40 minutes, which can be tough during rush hour. But when the complete 540 project finishes in 2028, that's going to really help. So you have a direct route around the southern side, and commute times are going to drop significantly. So Holly Springs is a bit cheaper than Apex, while still giving you good schools and that new house suburban lifestyle. But just until the complete 540 finishes, the prices are probably going to jump a bit when that commute situation changes. So beyond Holly Springs, you're going to find Fuquay Varina, which is even more affordable for this part of Wake County. Fuquay Varina has an historic small town feel with mineral springs history. The town actually has two separate downtown areas, Fuquay and Varina, each with its own character. The typical home price here is in the mid-400s, making it easier to get into a home here than Apex or Holly Springs. So you're getting a mix of the old and the new houses, good schools, and that cute downtown with breweries, restaurants, and Fuquay Varina Arts Center for shows and events. The commute to Raleigh is 25 to 35 minutes, so it's totally doable. And like Holly Springs, this area is going to benefit when the completion of 540 wraps up. Now, Fuquay Varina is also spreading into Harnett County to the south. There's a little place called Angier right here that's seeing some growth as people look for less expensive options while still being close to Wake County. So Southwest Wake offers that family-focused quality that we've been talking about. But if your budget is the main driver, Southern Wake County takes affordability seriously while staying surprisingly close to downtown. The areas we've covered so far range from mid-400s to 600s, but southern Wake County is where you're going to find the genuine budget-friendly entry points, and they're closer to downtown than you would think. Right here, south of Raleigh is Garner, and this is a first-ring suburb that's more affordable. The typical home price in Garner is now in the low 400s, which is less expensive than the western suburbs, and you're getting a mix of neighborhoods from the 1960s through the 1980s, plus some newer homes. It's got more of that working-class character, but you get good value for families. The commute to downtown Raleigh is only 15 to 20 minutes, and the schools are good. Garner has parks like White Deer Park and Lake Benson Park, which has 64 acres with a 1.8-mile track of trails. The Garner Performing Arts Center hosts concerts and plays throughout the year. And I believe Garner is set up for a pretty good comeback and appreciation, especially if we get some industry down there. The accessibility to Raleigh is excellent, and there's potential for growth and investment. As you move farther south, you get into more country communities like Willow Springs. This area is known for bigger lots, open spaces, and that country feel lifestyle. The typical home price in Willow Springs is in the low 400s, and the area has seen more activity over the last few years. If you're looking for bigger properties, maybe some land for horses, or a big garden, this is where you start looking. And you're getting that quiet country setting while still being able to get to Raleigh and the surrounding areas quickly. Highway 42 runs through this area and has seen a lot of growth along this road recently. So people who never would have looked out here before are finding these areas and realizing that you can get way more land for your money. There's another area that's benefiting from the triangle's growth, Clayton in Johnston County. Clayton has new construction and affordable housing, and it's very popular for young families. The typical home price in Clayton is in the high 300s, making it one of the more affordable options in the Raleigh metro area. The town has a growing downtown with shops and restaurants, and as Raleigh keeps expanding, Clayton's positioned to keep developing and to continue to gain in value. So there you have it. We just covered every major area in the area around Raleigh, from downtown condos to country properties 30 miles out. So now that you know all of this, here's what I want you to do. If you're thinking about a move to Raleigh, shoot me an email at marti@martihampton.com. I'll give you a personal recommendation on which area makes the most sense for you and your family. I hope this was helpful. I try to cover all things Raleigh to help you make the best decision for your move. Thanks for watching. See you next time.